Hey, well, welcome to the Hey Joe Show. Sorry for the extra sound effects there. Sometimes we just are blessed with extra sound effects as I hit the bar with my hand.
I thought you were just trying to do some cool, like, Halloween-like effects, like last week, like my...
Yeah, only you have the talent and ability to do that.
Last week was good. Not this week.
I do not have the talent and ability to do that. So, hey, we want to welcome you to another episode of the Hey Joe Show. What a blessing it is to be together tonight.
Are we telling ourselves that? It's
we are. I got to tell you, sometimes, let's just be real. Sometimes
just not feeling it.
Sometimes we're tired.
Yeah.
And it's been a long day. And, of course, that doesn't mean that we're not glad to be here with you guys. And we're grateful to be with the Hey Joe Show. And but sometimes, you know, we got to have a little coffee in our pep. I don't know how else to say that. A little caffeine spark.
Had no coffee today.
And so maybe we'll do that because I was at the store earlier and got some really nice coffee creamer that I'm going to enjoy later on
about
tonight.
The coffee. He's like, I got coffee creamer.
Well, see, I'm one of these guys. I unfortunately like to have a little coffee with my creamer. I don't know how everybody else is. All you who are listening to this and will listen to this, you know, I just, maybe tonight's poll will be, do you like a little coffee with your creamer or a little creamer with your coffee? To me personally, if you can't taste your coffee, that's okay. But you can't drink straight creamer. Now, that's like a taboo. You can't do that. But there's some great questions.
But you can have 98%.
Correct. As long as you have that little dose of coffee, then it's still counted as coffee.
Okay, so for all of you who follow my, here we go. This is my technology woes. This never happens to me except for on the Hey Joe Show, but something weird is going on the Cub Publications page, and there's like this bar running across it. It won't let me do anything. And it only happens during the Hey Joe Show. It never happens anytime else during the week.
Now, I don't even know what to say about that because I'm about to get on the page, and it's going to be fine.
Yeah, I know. For you.
It's 100% fine. I'm showing that we're live.
I'll just blame Satan. He's just trying to get me.
I'm showing that we're live. I'm showing that people are wanting to listen to us.
We are live, but
Jonathan, hey, I got to tell you something.
Jonathan's always watching.
Yeah,
He's
but
awesome.
Get this. I was thinking about Jonathan just before we got on the show.
You're just sitting thinking about Jonathan.
I was thinking, you know, I wonder if Jonathan's going to get on tonight because I don't remember seeing him the last couple nights. Was he on the last couple nights?
He was, at least in the last 2 weeks. But I'm surprised he's on because his wife's been posting about them having sick kids. Sorry,
Maybe
Jonathan.
he's running from the sickness.
Could be.
Glad we could be your out, man. Glad we could be your out. Hey, we better get going on the show. I got to tell you, we want to thank the folks over at thelightnetwork.tv. You guys over there rock, and we are grateful that you let us be on your podcast program, your show, your network. We are blessed, and if you have not gone over to thelightnetwork.tv yet, I want to encourage you to do that. There's tons of podcasts over there that you will enjoy and that will bless your life. And, of course, we're grateful that you tuned in to the Hey Joe Show to join us tonight as we continue our season dealing with teenage questions. There's another sound effect.
We're just really wanting to have like some.
We have some good sound effects.
Hey, Jonathan said oddly he was thinking about you too, or me, or both of us.
I really was. I'm not just saying that.
He was working last Sunday.
I thought he was. He and his new partner. I can tell you about his partner. Hey, got to tell you this. Those of you who are watching this live, you can see this. Those of you who are not watching this live, you're just going to have to deal with me describing it. Sorry. Some of you have been asking. Some of you have been wondering. Some of you have been losing sleep over the possibility of having your very own Hey Joe Show hat. Some of you have seen the one that I wear, and you were interested in getting one. So you messaged us, and you gave us the idea. You are the ones that planted this in our heads to go ahead and order a first run of the Hey Joe Show hat. So I've got to tell you this. They are in.
You better get some.
I have only 15 of them, though. And so here's the deal. They're not even on our website yet. I'm going to put them up on our website, but I wanted to launch it tonight. Those of you who have been asking about a Hey Joe Show hat, those of you who are wanting to sport some show bling, I don't even know, is that a word?
Show bling.
Show bling, I guess it is. That you can quote me on that one.
Like shoveling. Show bling.
Show bling. Show bling almost sounds like this Oriental, like a samurai fighting something or other. Show bling.
You can't say that. It's Asian.
Oh, I'm sorry. What did I say?
Sorry,
what
Joe's
did I
not
say?
Politically correct.
Chinese?
It's okay. Moving along.
What did I say? Japanese?
No, moving along.
Oh, moving along. Anyhow, I don't even know if samurais were Chinese or Japanese. Do you know if they were Chinese or Japanese?
They were Japanese, but
I thought
moving
they
along.
were. Show bling. If you have been wanting some show bling, we have them, and we're going to sell them
anywhere.
We're going to sell them first run, $15 plus shipping and handling. That's all I can tell you right now. So that's a pretty good deal on a show bling hat.
It really is.
I mean, we're going to get that out there, but if you've been looking for a Hey Joe Show hat, I will tell you this. You can't get them anywhere but right here, folks.
No, they're pretty awesome.
I mean,
like one of a kind.
They are one of a kind.
I would say unique. I was going to say rare, but that reminds me of a steak. They're better than a steak.
They are. They are a
better
steak.
Than a steak.
Just remember this. These hats are a steak. I think. No, all right. So
my headphones aren't weighing us down tonight.
Anyhow, hey, Erin, before
Sorry.
we get into the show, I do have a little game I want to play, and you're not aware of this.
No, I'm not, and I don't know that I like that.
Yes, you do. All right, I'm going to tell you a joke, and I want to see if you can keep a straight face through the jokes. No, but you got to quit doing no distractions. Okay, you got to look just at me. And this is serious.
Make me laugh just looking
this
at you.
Is serious.
I mean, not because you're funny to look at.
No, this is serious. This is serious. This is going to be a warm up, and of course, we want to know what those who have tuned into the Hey Joe Show live think about the show bling, but also about the joke. So if you have a good joke that's appropriate, send it my way, and I'll see if we can stump Erin and make it where she doesn't laugh. So here's the first joke. You ready?
I'm going to laugh already. This is not going to work.
No, this is going to work.
Okay.
I promise. This is going to work. Ready? Here you go. Serious.
Yeah, that's the same of our dog that we had for a while. Yeah.
What is the slipperiest nation in the world?
Is this the joke?
This is a joke.
Mm-hmm. Oh, man, I don't think well on my feet. Although I'm not really on my feet. I'm sitting.
Do you give up?
I give up.
Greece.
Bah ha ha ha.
All right, here's another one.
All
You
right.
ready?
I'm not supposed to laugh?
No,
I mean, okay.
They only get, what did one toilet say to the other toilet?
I'm running away from you.
No.
I don't know.
What did one toilet say to the other? You look flushed.
Mm-hmm. See, I'm not sure because when you give a punchline, someone's supposed to laugh, but you told me not to laugh, so now I don't know what to think.
Why wouldn't the shrimp share his treasure?
Okay, let me think. Why wouldn't the shrimp share his? Because he was shellfish?
He was a shellfish. Good job.
Shrimps, are they really shellfish?
Nice job. He was a little shellfish. That's right. Hey, did you hear about the race between the lettuce and the tomato? The lettuce was ahead and the tomato was trying to catch up. That's a good one. What do you think?
Joe, is this your wannabe comedian
Listen to
hour?
this one.
I mean, people tune in for the
No, I know, but
tune in for the show to learn.
Tonight, we're just keeping it real.
Not to learn how silly you are.
No. Listen.
Okay. All right.
What do you call security guards working outside Samsung shops? I think you'll like this one.
Is it going to be politically incorrect like your samurai one?
No.
All right, what?
Guardians of the Galaxy. Get it?
Whoop! That was funny.
I like that one. That's right. Funny. That's right. All right, one more, and then we'll go ahead and cut it off. Let's see if I can stomp you, okay?
One more?
That's right, one more. Okay. All right, let's see here. What is an astronaut's favorite place on a computer?
Somebody said they love cheesy jokes.
I know.
Well,
I do too.
To the right place because Joe's really cheesy.
I do too. Okay. What's an astronaut's favorite place on a computer?
Okay, let me think. I don't know.
The space bar. Huh? What do you think about that one?
That was no.
That was a good one.
No.
All right, here you
It
go.
wasn't.
What
You
runs?
said, wait a minute. You said one
I know,
more.
but we got to end on a good one. What runs but doesn't get
really
anywhere?
Bad. That was really bad.
What runs but doesn't get anywhere?
The refrigerator.
Oh man,
Yay!
that was a good one. I thought I was going to get that one from past
Everybody
you.
knows that one. Sorry.
All
Even
right.
me.
All right. Well, hey, maybe later on we'll throw some good jokes out
let's
there.
not. Let's
Those
not.
of you who are watching live on Facebook, you may want to submit one of your jokes to see if it can stump Erin tonight. That's going to be our game.
It's not hard.
Stump Erin
You
with your
stumped me out of all
one-liner
but-
cheesy joke that's
Okay.
appropriate and is politically correct.
Eric said, "Love the Samson joke."
I know. Isn't that great? Guardians of the Galaxy.
Galaxy.
That's the punchline. But you got to say it at the right time. Guardians of the Galaxy. Do you know what a galaxy is?
I do, Joe. I used to own one.
Okay. All right. Well, hey.
Back before I was an iPod girl. I mean, phone.
iPhone girl, not an iPod girl,
yeah,
right?
I don't even know.
All right.
Remember at the beginning when we said some nights it's just hard? Yeah, I think tonight's going to be one of those nights.
I don't know. I think we're on a roll. The show's going well. The fans are happy, and we're ready to get going with tonight's topic. Are you ready to get going with tonight's topic?
Okay.
You are
Let's go.
so ready.
Let's go.
I can tell. It's almost like we need to turn the lights off in the studio.
No, let's go.
We need to zoom in on Erin.
No, let's go. Why is this funny?
Oh, okay. Hey, the first topic we're going to get onto tonight is a topic that is discussed amongst teenagers, and it pertains to the concept of cliques. Now, I know that those listening to this podcast, those watching this live, have no clue what a clique is because you've never been a part of one. The cliques have never affected your life in any way.
Nope.
And I'm going to go out on a limb and say, Erin, I doubt cliques have ever affected you either. Is that correct? See, the truth is, cliques have affected all of us. And the question is, obviously, should Christians be involved in cliques? And, of course, when this question was asked and basically the discussion that went along with it, you had a lot of mixed reviews. And I think that most of us probably, when we try to answer this question, we probably have a mixed review and a mixed feeling towards it because as some people would bring up, it all depends on how you define what a clique is, right? And that's why cliques sometimes can be positive, sometimes it can be negative. And so one person brought up there's the word clique can mean different things. Number one, there is the hateful type that mainly focuses on staying in the crowd and will do just about anything to stay that way. And then number two, then there's the one, there is no one in, no one out group. Oh, there is the no one in, no one out group.
Okay.
Basically, they focus on just sticking together throughout everything. They might get rude and not including others. And then there's the other clique that's the idea they're a close set of friends who do everything together but allow others to participate. And so that individual, within the course of this discussion, introduced different concepts to cliques. So let me ask you this. You and I have talked about cliques.
When you were trying to read it and were stumbling all over yourself?
No, I was stumbling over the way it was written.
Gotcha.
But that's beside the point.
Recovery. Okay.
Yeah. But the idea is this. Are cliques good or are cliques bad? What do you think?
I think that cliques could be indifferent.
Okay.
Or bad. I don't know if they could be good. I'm trying to be positive here. I'm trying to think of a situation where they could be good.
Well, how would you define clique?
But I was going to say,
that's
the
the
term
question.
in and of itself, though, clique brings a negative connotation. Like you think negative about it. You think bad. Like clique, you don't think of it like as a group of friends having fun together. You think of it as like people leaving you out.
Okay, and that's usually where people go.
So what's the dictionary
definition? I just looked it up here. Says a small group of people with shared interests or other features in common who spend time together and do not readily allow others to join them. That is the definition of clique.
Oh, wait. Read that last part again.
I just closed it out. And do not allow people to readily join them.
Okay, that part is negative then. It is negative.
Okay.
Because I was going to say, before you got there, I was going to be like, well, it's not as negative as you'd think. But then you said it.
Okay, so the question then is this. Okay. If it is an exclusive thing, and of course, that's the direction that one of these would go, is that cliques sometimes can be exclusive, then should Christians be involved with cliques? And where is the line? This is the question in the line of thinking I'd like to get into tonight. Maybe those who are watching live can help us out. Where is the line between I like hanging out with my friends and I typically hang out with maybe a handful of friends versus we have turned into a clique that is exclusive? And I think we've got to talk about that because obviously the example in the early church that we see was that they were not going to exclude parts of the body. And by that, I mean this. When we are added to the Lord's church, we are added to the body of Christ. And why would part of the body say, well, I'm not going to hang out with you when we are directly related to one another, right? Now, within Christianity, that makes sense. Although it's sad to say that sometimes within congregations and even within youth groups within those congregations, cliques can form and really isolate people.
You just said sometimes.
Wait, do you think it's all the time?
I think it's more than sometimes.
Oh, how much do you think?
Is there a word that's in between sometimes and all the times? Frequently. Frequently.
All right, then let's talk about this.
I've seen it in just about every place I've ever been.
Why do cliques form? If it happens so much, why do cliques form? Because one of the definitions of that, whoa, what'd you say?
Security.
What do you mean by that?
People are insecure beings. And especially if you're at a place where you are new and you find someone that you hit it off with, or you've been there forever. A lot of times that's the case. You're not very good at looking out to the people that haven't been there forever.
Okay.
And I think sometimes, and I don't even think people always do it maliciously. I think sometimes they don't even realize they're doing it. As a person who's moved around most of my life, I've observed that. And I travel a lot.
Yeah, and here's the hard part. Because I believe that we are going to be drawn to people that have similar interest and that we feel comfortable with.
Right.
And that doesn't mean that you're going to feel the same level of comfort with everybody you come in contact with. Your personalities are going to click with other people, but they won't necessarily click with everybody.
Well, yes.
And so is there going to be some form of naturally
But wait a minute, but that's why we define
being attracted to certain groups?
But that's why we define a clique.
Okay.
Because I don't think it's bad in of itself to be naturally drawn to certain people, because you are going to have more interest with some people than others. However, the definition itself said, what was it? Not readily willing to let people into this clique, the circle of people.
Right.
And that right there is negative. We do have a couple comments. Anyway, Jerry Elder agreed with something because he said yes and yes. So we're just going to go with agreement. Yay! Thank you,
Jerry. Thanks for agreeing.
Okay.
Hey, when you get Jerry Elder to agree with you,
you know you're someone.
that's like the teacher giving you a 100% on your test with a red pen. Thank you,
Right,
Jerry.
there you go. Okay, I asked him in a couple other comments. He said, some would think that we as Christians are a clique, and it could be true among all people, young and old. You might feel comfortable, but never turn away.
You don't have to turn the people away.
Right.
You feel comfortable with some, but you never turn them away
you go.
otherwise. Is that what he said?
I think so.
Yeah.
And then JP said it's the exclusion aspect of a clique that makes them so damaging. I agree.
Okay, so
I agree.
And I agree too. So here's the dilemma then.
Okay, what's our dilemma?
How do you, if we're talking to a room full of teenagers, and of course our hope and prayer is that this will reach some teenagers, but it does reach parents
Right.
of kids, and it reaches youth ministers and things along those lines. So here's the question then: how do you teach this in a practical way? Because sometimes, as we discuss it as adults, we understand, well, there's a fine line. And you just got to be aware of yourself and aware of concepts as far as exclusion and things along those lines. But how do you get insecure teenagers who feel comfortable within their groups to open their eyes to question whether or not they've crossed over into we have a good group of friends that we love, but we're open to accepting other people, versus we've got a good group of friends that we love and there's no room for anybody else. Almost my spot has been taken. There's no room in this group for you. And here's the truth. We know that exists because we've heard that terminology before. Yeah.
Well, this is one of those times where I would really, really love to hear from some of the people that are listening and watching right now to kind of see what they think. To me, that's a tough one. I mean, the only thing I know to do, and I'm not even sure if this works. I mean, I take that back. It would depend on the person you're talking to, like what their heart set is. But the only thing I could think really to do is appeal to the side of, what if this was you? What if you were the one that was being excluded? How would that make you feel? And I think sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't.
Okay. And I think if you can get them to step outside of their shoes and into the shoes of the other person, that's a great thing. And sometimes you can do that and sometimes you can't. I will tell you this, though, one of the greatest ways to teach this is by taking people to a context that they are out of place in. It's almost the idea, if I never step outside of my comfort zone, then I'll never know what it's like outside of my comfort zone.
Right.
And so to take somebody and put them in an environment where they are not one of the in crowd. And I'll throw this out there. Mission trips can be great in that.
Yes.
Where you combine people from maybe various congregations, or maybe it's, even within your congregation, but you put yourself within an environment where, people look at you differently because you are American, or you're obviously, in my case, I would go to a place and they're like, that is a very tall, big man, when most people here are not tall and big. And you're going to stand out. And the only reason I say that is because it's healthy for you to be able to see it from somebody else's point of view, but sometimes it's hard to do within your own context.
Right.
And so you've got to change context then. And that's where I would say this, that we have to be intentional in that. You don't necessarily sit back and let it happen. You've got to sometimes create the situation so it can happen. I would also offer this, that sometimes working with young people requires that you purposely cause individuals who may not otherwise interact, you cause them to interact. And that could be in team activities. It could be in, possibly even things like a prayer partner, or individuals who are maybe on like kind of a leadership council, where they come up with ideas to direct what maybe the youth group or the youth program, some things that they might do, but you bring people from various backgrounds together, not all the people who are in the same groups. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Right.
And so you force a mixture. Go ahead.
Okay, so I really like this. Jerry Elder had another good comment. Lots of great comments tonight, Jerry. Keep them up. Keep them coming. He says, I really love this. He says, our youth group theme is there's always room for one more. We do this when we pray as a group. We form a circle, but we leave an open gap. Why? A circle closes out. An open circle allows in. Love it, love it,
that
love
is
it.
Awesome. I really do love that, because you're creating a mentality in that youth group. That's what you're doing. You're fostering an atmosphere, a culture, that we are an open circle for people to join our circle, I guess.
Absolutely, because I guess naturally we're we're dealing a lot with churches and groups, youth groups, and different things like that. And I know it's an obvious statement, but when it's a church environment and you're closing that gap, to someone that's come in and there's nothing wrong with them, they can start feeling like, what's wrong with me? And that could leave a bad taste in their mouth for anything church related. And obviously that's the opposite end of what we're trying to get when it comes to church.
Yeah, well, and with anything, you talk about school groups, you talk about sports teams, you talk about social clubs, you talk about things even like trail life. The hard part is, being the person on the outside, is you don't share the common memories that the people already in the group have. And so you already are at a disadvantage from the standpoint of being accepted. So you've got to create new memories with them, so that you have to understand from the outside, you're not going to have all the memories they already had. You don't have the history they already had. But that doesn't mean that you can't begin having history. And so I think from this standpoint on the Cliques idea, if we're not careful, we'll only look at it from one standpoint. In other words, is it wrong to have a group of friends that you're close with? The answer is no, not in and of itself.
Right.
But the answer is, you've got to leave yourself open to allow other people in. But I would also offer this to the young person who's coming into the group that maybe has no background, no experience, no history with these people. You've got to be open to creating new memories with them.
Yes.
If you're closed off, then you cannot be surprised if other people respond to you in a closed off manner. Mm-hmm. And that's just the way it happens. And you know what? Some people exist in a closed off manner. Maybe they've been hurt. Maybe they are in a situation where they don't want to be. And so it makes it very difficult. It makes it very difficult to be a part of a group that you don't share common history with. You know?
Oh, absolutely.
Any other comments that have come through?
No new ones. Not since the last ones that I read.
All right, I will read this one because this one is disturbing to me in light of just where we are in a society. This individual said a lot of the times the cliques will be making fun of the kids that don't have as much money or the kids that are slower. Sometimes they won't talk to them when they come up. I believe this is something that we all have done and don't realize that we have been doing it. But I think as Christians, it is something that we all should work on. All cliques I know don't do that, but I hate to say it, but most do.
And that's from a teenager.
Yes. And I thought that was very interesting because it brings something else to light in the idea of a clique and the danger of a clique, and that's this. The danger is, you mentioned something in the beginning about security. Why do people join cliques? Why do they want to have their clique, their group of people? And it's because they feel secure within their group. Mm-hmm. Sometimes, in order to boost the closeness, the position within a group, what this teenager recommend or said was that sometimes you will put down other people in order to bond as a group where you're laughing collectively at somebody else.
Right.
It's the idea that as long as we're not laughing at me and we're laughing at somebody else, it's bonding us together. But at the point in time they're laughing at me, then it excludes me. And that goes back to teenagers and their development as children. And I know nobody likes to use that phrase with teens, right? But it's their child development concepts where they are going through a transition of not wanting to stick out. Most teenagers don't want to stick out. They want to blend in. They want to fly under the radar. You're going to have an occasional teens that don't mind sticking out. And what's interesting is you'll have some teenagers that will tout their individuality, but they go into a group of a bunch of individuals that all look the same, dress the same, listen to the same music, and talk the same. It's almost as if they feel secure within the tribe. And you know what? People that don't fit their tribe, sometimes, according to this teenager, they will go out of their way to laugh at them, but it actually is nothing wrong with that kid that they're making fun of. The problem is their own lack of, their own insecurities.
So I've seen this many times, and it's funny, right before you read that, I was actually thinking this very same scenario in my head. We have another comment that says, you will have many groups. The point is that it doesn't matter when Jesus is the common factor.
Mm-hmm. I like that. I don't know who it came from, but that's a great comment. That's assuming, though.
Mr. Jerry, he's just giving us all these great comments tonight.
That's right. That's assuming that Jesus is the common factor. And I think your statement is well made, and this is where sometimes it gets frustrating. And maybe tonight we can talk as parents. If your kid has ever been on the side of exclusion, then you can begin to understand this conversation from the standpoint of, you would hope that if anywhere my child would be accepted, that it would be at a place that claims Jesus is at the center, right?
Right.
The hard part is that sometimes through child development, through cultures that have been allowed to develop, possibly, and I'll say this, and this may rile up a crowd at 29 minutes into it, oftentimes kids go in the direction that their parents have demonstrated to them. And so if you find a culture, within a group of teenagers that is exclusive, it is quite possible you will find a culture of adults who have fostered the mentality of exclusion. Boom, drop the mic. Boom. If I could drop the mic, I would.
I do. Yeah, let's not. No,
let's not drop the mic.
Drop the mics. I'm kind of fond of these mics,
That's right.
and they kind of cost money.
All right. Well, there's my 2 cents. I firmly believe that parents are the biggest influence on young people. And so parents have got to foster what it looks like to be open.
And not enable their children to let them.
And not make excuses.
And not make excuses, which is hard as parents. I mean, we're parents. It is hard. However, I would never want to see my child excluding somebody. It wouldn't go over well with me.
I wouldn't either.
Just
But
saying.
see, that's where we have a responsibility to know what's going on with our kids and their
Absolutely.
interactions. And so we cannot surrender our involvement in their lives just to the stake of, well, they've got a good group of friends. I want my kids to have a good group of friends too, and they do. But I've got to be aware when somebody new comes into the picture, or if I have seen maybe some exclusion or heard of the exclusion, that's a teachable moment within the lives of my children between
Love
a
those
parent and a
teachable
child
moments.
that I've got to take advantage of, because here's the deal. My kids will grow into adults and they will raise my grandchildren if the Lord allows them to have children. The question is, do I want to go ahead and set the precedent now with my children so that when they pass down the lessons learned, that they will pass down godly advice that is given from the Bible, such as James chapter 2 about showing partiality and about loving your neighbor as yourself, the royal law. How are my kids going to know that if that's not something that I model and that I take the responsibility to teach within my own life?
Hey, I'm married to you. I'm in agreement with you.
Of course you are. Hey,
Not always.
I
though.
saw there were some cheesy jokes that came through, because the show needs to come to an end eventually. But I want to
Cheesy
get some of those
jokes? I
cheesy
didn't
jokes
see
that
any
came
cheesy
through.
Jokes.
They did.
I don't know. Oh,
I saw
how
one.
much wood could a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck
How
wood?
much wood?
As Google. Oh, it's a joke.
What's it say?
As Google says, a woodchuck could chuck its weight in wood.
Ooh, I like that.
I didn't
I
know
like
that was
that.
a joke. I was like, why is somebody writing that out?
That's right. Hey,
Okay.
what about this one right here? You ready?
No.
Why couldn't the bicycle stand up by itself?
Because it had no legs to stand on.
It was too tired. Get it?
Yeah.
Two
I
tires?
get
Two
it. Yeah,
tires? All right.
let's go back to more comments.
All
Let's
right.
get away from your cheesy jokes.
All right, go ahead.
It is commanded that parents do this to teach them, to nurture them, and to learn to love all, capital A, capital L, people.
I agree but we've got to pay attention to that too. Great comment. I don't know who it came from.
Yes,
but
you do.
Jerry.
Of course.
But I echo what my brother Jerry said. I'm telling you, it's like the teacher who's giving you 100 with a red pen and a smiley face.
Or
I think he just gave me a smiley face.
I bet he did.
I think so.
Jerry, I'm sure that's exactly what he was thinking. I'm going to show a smiley face on the top of his paper.
I feel that way. I do. All right. Any other comments that come through? Because I'm going to be the show manager this time and keep us on schedule.
Okay. We're done.
We're done?
We're done.
All right. Here's my last joke of the night.
Oh, no.
No. It is.
Joke.
It is. Why did the cookie go to the hospital?
Okay. Why did the cookie go to the hospital? Because it was crumbling.
Because he felt crummy.
Well, I was close.
Erin, do you have anything else?
I definitely do not have bad jokes.
That's all that I have
No
tonight
bad jokes.
for our show. Keep the comments coming. And don't forget, if you have been looking for some show bling now, it is time that you write us below this video. You reach out to us via messenger or email joe@kyopublications.org, and we will fix you up. Those hats are $15 a piece plus shipping and handling, and you get the first stab at them before they go on our website. And so please, if you're interested, let us know. That's right. Obviously, we want to thank again the people over at the Light Network. You guys are awesome. Look forward to hanging out with y'all again in the near future. But thank you for allowing us on your podcast.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Thank you, Jerry. We love you, too. We appreciate all your comments.
Absolutely. Jerry Elder is awesome. I encourage y'all to tune in to his garage devotional time. It is pretty cool.
Pretty awesome.
I think you're going to like it. So anyhow, obviously we want to invite you to like our page at Kyle Publications. Check us out on your podcast, wherever you get your podcast. Download us, subscribe to the Hey Joe Show. Give us a review. You will bless us and you will help us to reach people that we otherwise would not reach. So that's all we have for tonight's show. I'm going to go ahead and say it.
We're out.
Please hang up and try again.